Are you scared?
Tavion the Dragon Knight isn't afraid of anything.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I definitely had a bit of expectations for the DOTA Dragon Blood series on Netflix. I never engaged with the game, so I don't really have much foot in the game in terms of whether or not it's a faithful adaptation, but seeing it with the style of stuff like Avatar really put my interest up, and after watching it, I gotta say, I had a good time. I'm really liking this trend of video game adaptations having genuine care put into them. It's just something I really wanted to see for so long, and we're starting to get it. Seriously, if you were to tell me that this was possible when I was younger, I would have laughed at you. Just so many have been coming out and being of really good quality, and we are getting fed some pretty damn good food, I tell you what.
Praise the moon of May.
The series is based on the Dota MOBA game, which I can honestly say I have no clue whether or not this show is accurate to at all. I'll admit I have heard that the game wasn't the deepest when it came to its story, so it's possible the show is fleshing things out, but you know the deal.
Don't quote me, boy, cause I ain't said shit.
It's created by Ashley Miller, who wrote the first Thor movie and X-Men First Class and Fringe. The main premise is about a dragon knight being killed and brought back to life, with the great dragon living inside him, and must venture to find what caused this. It's a series that has its fill of lore that gets you hooked into its world. There are sort of these moments that feel like a scene is the last one in the episode, but then the next scene starts, so it can throw you off a bit, like it fades out kind of, indicating the episode is over, but then keeps going. It's just a bit odd. There's also a gripe I have with it throwing you into things, expecting you to be aware of a lot of things. It may be fine for those that have played the games, but for everyone else, you may find yourself a little lost at times, but you won't be too lost if you know a good chunk of the idea of Dungeons and Dragons. At least the very basics of it. You know, dragons, knights, wizards, elves, all that shit. You can get some of the basics down pretty easily. I don't think you'll have too hard a time being able to get into its world. That's just kind of something that's alright for itself. It's just, it knows, hey, some people already know about Dungeons and Dragons, so you don't have to really bog everything down. That's something I can appreciate a little bit. The characters give off a sense of reality to their portrayals. They kinda have a demeanor of other shows like Avatar, Kipo, and the like. There's Davian the Dragon Knight.
Davian.
He definitely has the attitude of a nobleman. Someone who just stands up to do the right thing with a nice and likable personality. Though he does get in over his head at times and gets himself into trouble. He got possessed by some mysterious dragon named Slyrak that turns him into a ravenous dragon demon after being killed by this dragon he saved. So you find yourself wondering what caused this to happen to him. It's something that wraps you into his journey and keeps you hooked in. Marana is a princess out looking for info having to do with these lotuses that were stolen from her kingdom. She's pretty stoic in her attitude and on mission, which helps in keeping you involved with her, especially since you know there's this mysterious past with her being a disgraced princess that you want to find out more. She doesn't have a problem calling out people when they're talking about doing something in the name of honor, when in actuality it's just pretty boneheaded.
There's no shame in walking away from a pointless fight. We're going to the Broken Peaks. You should too. Come with us.
I won't run from a fight. Even this one. My name means something to me. To my brothers in Dragonhold. Dishonoring myself dishonors them.
Stupid. Brave, but stupid.
Her cynical nature just adds a sense of grounding to the series. She's accompanied by a mute named Marcy. She just plain kicks ass. She may look innocent, but you can't let that fool you. She will break some bones.
That guy won't be going home to his kids.
There's this elf named Fimrin who has a pretty fucked up backstory. She stole the lotuses from Marana's kingdom, which led to the ruler Selamine waging a war on elves, which led to Fimrin watching her friends die in front of her.
Damn!
Yeah. She basically carries that weight on her shoulders and tries to rectify her wrongdoing. There's also this captain of the kingdom Marana ruled over named Luna. She does the bidding of her goddess Selamine with blind abandon, believing what she's doing is in the name of good. She slaughters a bunch of elves without really thinking about why she's doing it. I could be honest, I wasn't too drawn to her that much since we don't get to know her outside of her mission, so I didn't care if something happened to her. It's just kind of a thing to keep note of, I don't know. Maybe she does get more fleshed out later on as the series goes, but for now it's just like, okay, you're here, you're sort of a puzzle piece, but you're not the puzzle piece I'm wanting to look at. That's just kind of how it comes across. Ultimately though, these are a fairly interesting bunch of characters with tragedies among just about all of them, so you do grow a feeling of empathy with most of them. You can find yourself growing attached to them.
We're safe. Alive.
The animation for this series is done by Studio Mir, the same people who animated Avatar, Legend of Korra, Voltron Legendary Defenders, and Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast. And this might be the first time I've seen them do a full adult series with straight up blood and gore. And man, does it feel like Mir wanted to let loose with this one. You get these very intense fight scenes just filled with such graphic violence. It's just so beautiful. I've never knew how much I needed this studio to animate such violence until now. The animation and quality and design overall is just that classic style Mir is known for. Characters have their own varying weights to them. The background work looks amazing with their use of sharp edges. It can look pretty damn gorgeous with its background. Can almost put these shits up as paintings, they look that good. They use 3D CG animation when it comes to the dragons, which puts some emphasis on the heaviness on the dragons, giving them a feeling of scale. But it does become obvious that there was a style switch up when you see them. But it's nothing really that bad, it's still pretty top notch. The deep-seated lore adds a nice hook to the series. You get a goddess named Selamine who basically tricks people into her bidding with seduction. She ends up waging a war against elves and enslaves them because of this elven man with no name, only known as the Invoker, that seeks to fix the wrong that he started by enabling her and letting her daughter die just because she wouldn't worship her. There's kind of no real involvement with the main characters since they're off doing something else for a bit. It could almost kind of take you out of it since the different stories don't 100% connect until around the end of the 5th episode, and it's an 8-episode season. Like, even though Marana is the princess of the kingdom that Selamine rules over, she's not made aware of everything happening until maybe halfway through the season. The story they're going through involves these dragons that definitely pulls your interest more than anything. You find that there's a demon named Terrorblade.
What the shit? That's the coolest name ever!
That possessed an ancient dragon, and Davian makes a pact with the dragons to stop Terrorblade. But they eventually run into the Invoker to help put an end to Selamine's reign of terror. It just takes a bit of time for things to get more into gear, so it's not bad, but you should be aware of that. It can lead you to think that the season probably needed more episodes to really flesh things out, especially when you see the last episode, and I'll admit you don't have as much skin in the game in terms of caring as you wish you could have. It can feel that maybe you needed to play a little bit of the game to get a better understanding of things. The season just has so much happening and moving at a fairly fast pace, you don't get enough time to let it all sink in, but the characters can shine through enough for it to not affect too much. You can at least get that feeling of, I'm on a grand adventure and I'm enjoying a bit of my time. That's something that at least shines through for this season. So at least I could say bravo on that front.
You might actually make a good Dragon Knight.
This is a pretty enjoyable series. It has a fairly vast world with a good lore to it that wraps you in. The characters are grounded but likable and get you to empathize with them with their backstories. It's Studio Mir working at their finest and with something different than what you're used to with the graphic violence, and it's just fabulous. The CGI dragons may throw you off a tad, but it's not something that you couldn't get used to. It does toss you into some things, expecting you to know what's up when it comes to its story. That can make it difficult to care for some of it by the end of the season, but you will still want to stick around for the next season when that happens, depending on Netflix. Because, you know, Netflix got a Netflix, but either way. Overall, you can have a bloody good time with this series. But that's just a thought.